Each NBA season, there's a ton of teams that shock us and they come out and they hit the ground running. And then we have teams that just grow to disappoint us. Maybe it's because they didn't live up to the expectation we had for them, or that they had such a traumatic fall off from their previous season. In today's video, we're going to be discussing 3 teams that in my eyes are the biggest disappointments. It's a pretty short list. However, I think it's an accurate one at that. Before we get into this video, guys, I just really, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank you all so much. I started uploading every single day of the month of March to motivate myself and just continue to push out content for you guys, because when you show support, it really does bring the biggest smile to my face. And I keep reiterating the statement that we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I have a feeling that by tonight we might hit that. I can't thank you guys enough. It really means the world to me. I'm going to continue to upload every single day from the month of March, so if you do want to support the channel, please be sure to consider hitting that subscribe button. But what you guys do for me every day, whether it's watch the video or comment on it or leave a like or subscribe or any of that, it's just, even watching just brings me so much joy. So thank you guys so much. Sorry for the little, sad sap type of intro, but without further ado, let's get straight into this video talking about the first team, the Miami Heat. Some may say that last season, and myself included, the Miami Heat were one shot away from the NBA Finals. Obviously, you guys remember Jimmy Butler coming down and taking that pull-up in transition with about 13 seconds left, and that basket would have given them a 1-point lead against Boston. Obviously, we know it didn't go in. The Celtics, they go on to compete against the Warriors in the finals. Last season, the Heat were the #1 seed in the East, and they were a +50 win team. They only lost 3 games in the playoffs going into that Eastern Conference Finals, including a great 6-game series against the Philadelphia 76ers. Even though they weren't fully healthy, it's still a great win and a great way to make that Eastern Conference Finals. They pretty much brought back the exact same team with the addition of Kevin Love midway through the season, but the Miami Heat, they just cannot shoot threes and they can't win go-ahead games. And when I say they can't hit threes, the drop-off, it's truly the Achilles heel of this team. This season, they rank 27th with a horrendous 34% three-point percentage. When you take a look at last season, and keep in mind, again, this is pretty much identically the same exact roster. Last season, they were the best three-point shooting team in the NBA with 38%, and the volume was huge. I mean, Tyler Hero's taking a lot of shots, Max Strus is taking a lot of shots, Kyle Lowry's taking a lot of three-point shots. These guys are all letting it fly from downtown. Duncan Robinson was getting a lot more minutes last season. He was a high-volume shooter. And like I said, the Heat cannot win these go-ahead games. It's just really been sad to watch the Heat this year, especially because I'm such a big fan of head coach Erik Spoelstra. I think he's a tremendous talent. And who knows if they can, make this play-in and, get that 7 or 8 seed. They are and were in my dark horse video for a reason. They could shock the world. I mean, you guys got to remember when they made the finals all the way back in 2020, the bubble year, they were the 5 seed, and not many people expected that to happen. Against the Celtics or maybe the Philadelphia 76ers, they could give them a run for their money. I mean, no one is going to want to face a healthy Jimmy Butler, a Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero. If Kevin Love looks even a sliver bit decent, my apologies, on the glass and from 3. Kyle Lowry is obviously known as a really great winner. It's going to be really interesting to see what this Miami Heat team can do come postseason, but for now, I think they are the biggest disappointment this season. Maybe not, maybe behind the other 2 teams, but you guys will have to let me know in the comments what you think. The second team that I think is one of the biggest disappointments this season is the Toronto Raptors. Last season, the Raptors were a near 50-win team. They were the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference, and they had an identity. They had a culture. They had people that showed up and showed out in the big moments. Even though they did not go far in the playoffs, they were, pretty handedly stomped out by the Philadelphia 76ers in that first round. I digress. You guys, coming into the season, I was tremendously high. I'm going to expose myself right now. I said if the Raptors and Cavaliers met in a playoff series that the Raptors would beat the Cavs. The Cavs are they already clinched playoff berth for the first time since the LeBron James era.
And the Raptors might miss the playoffs. Like, I was way off, way off about the Raptors this season. And it just makes me sad because I like Scottie. I like OG Anunoby. I like Pascal Siakam. I love the addition of Jakob Poeltl at the deadline when they acquired him from the Spurs. I think Fred VanVleet's a pretty, solid point guard. But now there's just less passion in this roster. There's less culture in this roster. A lot of people, the media specifically, have been quitting on Scottie Barnes already, which is absolutely ridiculous because he is in his sophomore season, guys. Like, he's gonna get better. You just have to give him some time to learn and grow. I mean, he was the rookie of the year after all. I digress. Fred VanVleet, he looks mildly unhappy in Toronto. I would not be surprised if we see him leave. There was rumors that Freddie himself shot down that he, declined a $180 million contract. I'm pretty sure it was something along those lines. But the biggest thing for the Raptors, as they sit sub 500 to this day, at the moment I'm making this video, they have not been able to put together one solid stretch of games this entire season. Not a 6-game or a 7 or an 8, even a 5-game win streak. Like, I literally wish I was joking when I say not even a 5-game win streak. The longest they've produced this season is a 4-game win streak. I just feel really bad for Raptors fans. I think Nick Nurse is a tremendous coach. I think they have a ton of talent in that locker room. And obviously the president of the Raptors, Messiah, I'm not going to try to butcher his last name. That's my bad for not knowing it off the top of my head. Messiah is for the players, he's for the culture, and it just makes me really upset to see that this Raptors team is not, producing like they would. The third and final disappointment we're going to talk about, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I kind of made a whole video the other day, which I'm sure you guys have seen. It went absolutely crazy. Again, thank you guys for the support on that video. The Dallas Mavericks, you guys were a 50-win team last season. You were the 4th seed out west. You stomped a 64-win Suns team in a series, 7 games, when you guys were down 3-2. You started the Booker versus Luka Doncic rivalry. But you let Jalen Brunson walk. Jason Kidd's taking no accountability this season. You obviously made this blockbuster move, trading away your wing depth and defensive ability in Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith. And now you're left with the Kyrie Irving project, which I don't really think it's fair to say it's failed. I mean, granted they have not looked good, together on the floor, and their defensive lineups are absolutely atrocious. However, I think it takes more than 25, 30 games to figure out if a, duo is going to work, especially of two, ball handlers of their caliber, if you will. But I really don't think they're going to keep this going. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyrie Irving walks this offseason. I mean, if he resigns, power to him. I love that, they would try to make it work. But the Dallas Mavericks have been nothing short of a disappointment, as they are out of the play-in and might possibly not make it back in. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they would. But Western Conference Finals appearance last season, and now you're talking about missing the playoffs completely. That's almost unheard of. But what do you guys think? Which of these 3 teams is the biggest disappointment to you, and why? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys made it this far, I appreciate your support as always. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay happy, healthy, and blessed. And here is to 1,000 subscribers.